Hey dudes, this is the extension, kind of like a part 2 of what I sent you yesterday, because I kind of left this out and it's so good that I don't want you to be without it. But in that same Deuteronomy 8 passage where he was talking about how this journey that we've been on is about humbling you, testing you, and to come out for your good in the end. Here's another thing. A lot of us people, when we exert energy, we think that, hey, look what I did, and everything's good, and look what I did. And we all know that theologically, we don't have anything to bring God but rags, and what's that to him? But here's a passage, there's two passages, this one in Deuteronomy 8 and Isaiah 43 that I want to share with you. He says, beware lest you say in your heart. Matter of fact, he set it up earlier too in the previous verses. Beware lest you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hand has gotten me this wealth. And so he says, you shall remember the Lord, that he has given you this wealth. And I think this is one of the most theologically true statements that we can grasp. And it kind of goes back to why the gospel anyway, which, you know, when God created the earth, he created beauty. And when he delivered the gospel, there's something beautiful in the gospel that's not just something to teach or just something to agree with and to receive, but it is part of the plan. God said through the prophet Isaiah in chapter 43, starting in verse 22, you did not call upon me, O Jacob, but you have been weary of me, O Israel. You have not brought me your sheep for burnt offerings, or honored me with your sacrifices. I have not burdened you with offerings, or wearied you with frankincense. You have not brought me sweet cane with money, or satisfied me with the fat of sacrifices, but you have burdened me with your sins. You have wearied me with your iniquities. I am he who blots out your transgressions for my own sake, and I will not remember your sins. I love this. Oh man, I love that. Some of you guys who are receiving this have studied Russian. There's a feature of the Russian language that is a reflexive verb, which we don't really dig into or know much about in English, but essentially it's when you do something for yourself. And it's when you put in a Russian verb, when you put an S and a ya, siya, like with myself, at the end of a verb, it means I did this for myself. Like I dressed myself. I brushed my teeth for myself. And so these endings will be siya. Anyway, this is why God brought about the gospel, was for himself. And yes, we benefit from it, just like the journey that we are all on, just like the trials and the tests. They are to prove your heart. They are to bring you into a place of humility and to do about for your eventual good. And God has done this for himself so that you may benefit. And so when you think of the gospel, when you think of what's going on here, think about how God brought this good news, not because of what we did, but because of who he is. Peace, love, message over by Brett. Love you guys.